guys, Jen here. Welcome to Live with Jen B. So today is Wednesday, and usually on Wednesdays I do an episode called Creative on Demand. And I've been sort of back and forth with continuing that topic, not because I don't think it's interesting or that it's important, but I feel like I end up talking a little bit about that same topic when I talk about multi-passionate productivity, which I talk about on Tuesdays. And really overall, I felt like there was sort of a gap in the topics because I felt like there was something really, really important that wasn't being talked about, that is sort of being missed in the writing industry in general. And so I thought I needed to sort of bring to light some of that, talk about it, and just to reiterate the importance of this, because I think for me, it's made the biggest difference in everything. And so Wednesdays now I'm going to do, instead of doing Creative on Demand, or maybe I'll switch it up. Maybe I'll do that some Wednesdays, and some Wednesdays I'll do this version, which is Born to Write. So I truly believe that we are all born with gifts, that we're all born with, just things that we're meant to be doing and meant to be putting out into the world. And I believe that some writers, not all writers, because I think some writers maybe just like writing, like the idea of it, have fun with it or whatever, sort of see it as a hobby. But I feel like there are some writers like me and maybe you and a lot of other writers out there who actually connect their writing to a higher purpose. So that's where I'm at with it. So I really just believe that I can't not write. That's the thing. I've known for a very long time, probably since I was a young child, that I was born to write, that I was meant to write, that's the thing. Out of everything else that I'm really good at, that's the thing that I'm the best at. It's the thing that I know I was put here to do, is to write and to change people's lives with my words and share stories and experiences and teach people what I know, and doing all of that through my writing. So I believe that by connecting my writing to, my purpose of being here and the reason that I, do all the stuff that I do, that has actually helped me to connect at a much deeper level, which has now caused me to see it in a totally different way. So, and this is actually something that I've sort of been back and forth with for a long time, because, especially when you feel like something is what you're meant to be doing, it's like your calling in life. A lot of the times we fight it and we, resist it, and we decide that it's not that important and we don't have to do it. And we give ourselves a hard time about it, because it's that inner struggle that just happens when you're meant to do something and you're either not doing it or not fully doing it. And so that's where I was at. So for a long time, I've known that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, is writing and putting writing out in the world and sharing what I know and telling stories. And I was doing a little bit of that over the years, but it was not until the last couple of years when I've really been taking it as seriously as I do now. So it's like I've actually connected, a higher purpose to all the stuff that I do. And also feel, and this I would say for any writer who feels like they're born to write, and I feel like if you are, if you were born with this writing gift, that is the thing you're great at, that's the thing you're meant to be doing. You just know it. You don't have to, maybe you're pushing it away and sort of not actually allowing yourself to do it, but that's what you're here for. You're meant to write, and that's, out of everything else you do, the main thing that you're supposed to be doing, maybe even the only thing that you're supposed to be doing. Maybe not, but the whole point is that you're supposed to be writing. And if you're not, then you're actually pushing away that higher calling, that purpose of what you're supposed to be doing. And I feel like when you're born to write, you have a responsibility to show up and do the writing. And even more so now, I take that responsibility so much seriouser, it's not even a word, seriously, so much more seriously, when I get emails like the one I'm about to read to you. So this was from last year at some point. I received an email from a reader. So I write a blog every day, or most days. Last year I wasn't doing it consistently like I am now, but I was definitely blogging several times a week and sending emails out to my community. So basically when I would have a blog post, I would email my community and let them know. I would send the post to them, etc. And I actually received this email from somebody one of the mornings when I sent the email out with the blog post. So it says, just wanted to tell you how important these daily emails are to me. I say that even though I haven't written in a good long while. I say it because I can't bring myself to unsubscribe, to completely give up. Part of me believes that I will spark up any day now and start writing. And part of that reason that those embers won't die is because of your emails. You appeal to the higher self, and I thank you. And when I got that email, it literally just sort of blew my mind in a way, because it just made me see all the times that I've talked myself out of showing up and doing my writing, all the times I talk myself out of not writing that ebook or not writing that blog post or not telling that story or not doing that live stream or whatever I talk myself out of because I was afraid or because I thought I shouldn't do it, or I wasn't, I shouldn't be doing this, isn't the right thing or whatever. Any of the times that I talked myself out of just doing the writing and doing the stuff that I felt called to do inside, then, things like this happen, and it just reminds you, like, this is why you have to show up every day. This is why you have to do the work no matter what. This is why you have a responsibility now. Like, I don't know, and this is just me maybe, I just believe that, like, if you are born to write, you are born to impact certain people. And if you're not doing the writing, if you're not showing up every day, if you're not actually putting your work out there, then there's people who are suffering because they don't have it that they need, and you aren't bringing it to them. So maybe they're not suffering in the way of, like, they're actually physically suffering, but who knows? I mean, the whole thing is, if you're meant to write something and you're not writing it, and you've got the idea and it's been with you for a long time, and you messed with it a little, but you haven't gone all the way and actually written it out, published it, put it out there, then yeah, there are probably people out there who need whatever it is you're got in your head that you haven't put out there yet. So, so many days that I tell myself, I don't want to write this, I don't want to send this out, I don't want to do this. Just think about if I hadn't done it, like if I hadn't just done it anyway. I get this email from this woman, like, these daily emails are the thing that's helping her to not give up on her own writing. Like, who am I to not give her what she needs to get her writing done? Who am I to not, just give her the inspiration and the guidance that she needs to not give up? And if I stopped sending my emails, if I stopped writing my blog posts and things like that, then people who need to hear what I have to say wouldn't be getting that, and they would probably quit. So she's saying, one of the reasons she doesn't quit is because of my emails. So it's like, when you feel that level of impact that you're making, when you feel that responsibility of, like, holy shit, people actually want to read what I have to say and they're actually getting value out of it, it takes you to a whole new level. Because honestly, it's a little bit scary. It is a little scary because you think, like, man, what I'm doing actually is making a difference. It's actually impacting people. And that can be scary because, again, it comes with the responsibility of knowing that you are supposed to be doing this. And obviously, if I wasn't, then I wouldn't get that kind of reaction from people. So by knowing that, it's like taking it to a whole new level, and it's connecting it to that purpose of why you're here and what you're here to do. So for me, I just find that when I connected my writing and doing my writing to my purpose, just the reason that I'm here, the gifts that I have to share with the world, and the message that I have, and the stories and all of that, because I just believe writers are messengers. Like, writers are meant to channel messages, to share stories and ideas and things that, wouldn't normally get out there if it wasn't for the writer who was the creator who put it together and put it out there. So, and I'm just thinking fictional stories and movies that have totally changed your life, or stories you've read that have changed your life, or nonfiction books, how-tos, or self-help books or memoirs that you've read that have changed your life or that have changed other people's lives. Like, imagine if those writers didn't write them. Imagine if they had let their bullshit and their nonsense and the excuses that they make and the resistance, like, imagine if they'd let all of that get in the way of putting those stories out there, or writing the script for that movie, or writing that memoir, or going through that life experience and then sharing it with everybody. Like, imagine if that didn't happen. And it's kind of crazy because you can't imagine it almost. It's like, well, I don't know what the world would be like without Harry Potter, or like, what would the world be like without, that book or this book or whatever. So, and I don't read Harry Potter, but I just know what a big impact it's made on the writing industry and on the, the industry in general. So, just saying in general, the idea of, like, if those people hadn't done what they did. So if J.K. Rowling decided, I don't want to write that story, I'm not going to keep going through all this rejection, I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to give up and, go freaking, work at McDonald's or something. I don't know. But imagine if that had happened. Imagine if that had happened with your favorite writer, the books that you love to read, that have changed your life, that have made you want to be a writer. They wouldn't be out there. They wouldn't be out there for people to read. So it's really important, especially, like I said, if you feel born to write, if you feel called to write, you feel inside you that writing is the only thing that you are really meant to be doing. And again, you might be good at lots of other stuff, like, especially if you're multi-passionate like I am, you probably have a lot of things you're really good at, but there's that one thing that just pulls at your soul. And for me, that's writing. And I'm sure that is for a lot of writers. And that's why I wanted to just, again, bring this topic to light, because I think that a lot of people don't talk about this stuff and don't realize that, like, writing is a calling. It's not just a hobby. It's not just something you do as a job. It's not just something you do for fun. I mean, it can be, and that is for some people, but for others, it's a calling. It's like, you just can't not write. Like, literally all the times I can look back on my life and see when I wasn't doing my writing and I wasn't getting my writing out there were probably the darkest times I've gone through, because I was letting these ideas and these messages and these stories just die inside me every single day that I wasn't doing the work and showing up and putting my stuff out there. So now I do that on a consistent basis. Every day I share my message. I, share my blog posts. I put whatever I'm feeling and experiencing and going through. I talk about it in my blog posts and I share it with my community, because I know that whatever I'm going through is most likely what other people are going through too. And I want them to know you're not alone. You are exactly in the right place, that if you feel called to write, then you need to do it, and you have a responsibility to do it. So anyhow, that's just my little spiel on this. I will be talking about this a lot more going forward, because this is a topic that's really, really important to me, because I think a lot of writers, if they were to connect that feeling inside that they have with wanting to write and wanting to get stories out there, if they actually connected that with their purpose and with that deeper level of like, I'm here to tell stories. And because I just believe that, like, if a story idea comes to you, or if a book idea comes to you, or something, you know, that you want to write comes to you, it came to you for a reason. It chose you. It didn't just come out of thin air and decide it was going to pop in your head. Like, it chose you because you're the person who's meant to bring it to life. And I don't know, maybe there's a time period. So if you don't get it done fast enough, or if you don't actually take action on it in a few years, the idea goes to somebody else. So you may have experienced this. I have definitely experienced this, where I had an idea, 2-3 years ago, but I never acted on it. And then a few years later, a story comes out that's very similar to the one that I thought of a few years ago. Or something comes out where it's like, oh man, I know I had an idea that was just like that a few years ago, but I know I didn't act on it. So maybe that idea went to somebody else. And so, it's really important when you do get ideas, and when you have things that come to you, and stories you feel like you need to tell, that you actually do the work and tell them, that you actually write the story and put it out there and go all the way and finish. Because if it comes to you, it's for a reason. It's not because it's just random. It came to you because you are the writer meant to put it out there, meant to create it, and meant to write it into existence. So when you start to see it that way, and when you start to treat your ideas as, the gold that they actually are, and the weight of, the impact that they have, then it's a much bigger responsibility now to step into that role of, I'm going to be an author who changes people's lives, who entertains people, who inspires people and motivates them, and just helps them to see that they're not alone, and that humanity is, all one. But if you don't actually do that, if you don't tell the stories that you feel inside you, if you don't write the stuff that comes out that you hear in your head all the time, but you're not actually putting down on paper, then they're wasted, and you're not actually living your purpose as a writer who's born to write. So that is my spiel on purpose and connecting it to your writing. For me, it has been the best way to motivate myself to actually be consistent, do the work, show up every day, even when I don't feel like it. Today is a great example. Yesterday was a great example, because this week I've been feeling insanely strong resistance to doing these live streams, and to, just consistently doing all the stuff I've been doing for the last 2 months. But at the same time, when you connect it back to purpose, and you connect it to, well, this is what I'm meant to be doing, and this is what I'm here for, you can't not who just know that, like, you have a responsibility now to show up, to share what you think, to share what you're feeling, and to get it out there. So, like, I know when I get those emails, like the one I read earlier, and that's just not, that's just one example. I get emails like that all the time. It's just a really good reminder of, like, hey, people are listening, and you're making an impact, so you have to just keep showing up. And it does make it a little bit scarier too, because now you know for sure, like, you're actually making an impact, and it's kind of scary. But at the same time, it's inspiring, because if I can help even one writer see things differently and get that story out there, or get that book out there that they've had in their head for such a long time, and actually get it out into paper, get it out onto print, get it out in the world so that people can read it, then I've done my job. I've done what I came here to do, which is inspire people through my words, and inspire people to make changes, and to transform, and to take action, and to live their dream by watching me live mine. So that's why I think connecting your writing to purpose is so important. And I think if you feel called to write, if you know you're born to write, you know you are. Again, if you hear me saying this, it's either going to resonate with you or it's not. And if it resonates with you, it's because you're born to write. You know it, you feel it. You may not be acting on it, but you feel it, and you know that it's real. So just think about that, and really take away from this live stream a question, which is, if I feel called to write, what should I be doing right now? Or if I feel that I am born to write, what would I be doing right now? Just take that question with you. Think about it, journal on it, maybe whatever you have to do, but just really think about that. Because I think by connecting your writing to a higher calling and to a higher purpose, it's going to help you to step into the role of, this is what I'm meant to be doing, and actually do the work. Whereas if you don't see it that way, and you sort of look at it like, it's just a hobby I do, it's just something I do for fun, which, if that's the case, that's fine. But I think you know the difference between when you're just doing it for fun and when you're actually like, this is my passion, this is my calling. So like for me, I'm interested in playing guitar. It's something I've always been interested in. I've learned here and there. So I actually have a guitar behind me right there that I bought a couple years ago. I started learning how to play it. I am okay. I'm not very good. I know a couple of chords, whatever. but that's not something that I feel called to do. I don't feel that pull inside to be like, I have to play guitar, I have to be a musician. I don't feel that. But there are people who do, who feel like I could never not hold a guitar in my hand every day and play because I would die. Like, that's how I feel about my writing. And so if you feel that way, but you're not actually stepping up and doing the work, then you're suffering, and you are probably feeling resentful and angry and, maybe even a little bit purposeless and depressed and whatever, because that's what happens when we push away the things we're meant to be doing. So if you are meant to be writing, if you're meant to be putting words out in the world, which if you feel like you're born to write, then you are meant to do that, then you have to do it. Because if you don't, that's when all that other shit starts bubbling up and just getting in the way. So that is all. I'll be back next Wednesday with another episode of Born to Write. So we'll talk more about purpose then. And if you know that you are born to write and you are ready to step up into your purpose and into your calling as a writer and as an author and creator, then be sure to check out my group that's open right now for new members, the Bestselling Author Mastermind. It is the place for high-level mentorship and accountability and support if you want to step up into being the writer and author that you see yourself as being right now. So actually creating the habits, the mindset, the craft knowledge that you need, the consistency, the follow-through to be that professional author. You can do all of that and step into that role and really actually see yourself that way and get your writing done in this group. So be sure to check it out at jenniferblanchard.net/mastermind, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.